Okay, GIS people, here is a review of what I showed in class the other day, sharing from ArcMap to ArcGIS.com, aka ArcGIS Online. And this is, technically speaking, creating a feature service so that you can incorporate your ArcMap data into ArcGIS.com. First of all, you need to be in an ArcMap session, and you need to be logged in and create a map document and also save it with layers symbolized the way you want them. It's best to stick with a single data frame, no rasters, although that is possible. We have no reason to. No base maps and no selection layers anywhere in your data frame. And you should also only share layers that are unique to you, either things that you've downloaded and can't find anyplace else, and there's no need to duplicate content that's already available in ArcGIS.com, Living Atlas, or our shared data from class. Also, just note that ArcGIS.com Living Atlas has lots and lots of census data and demographics, so you don't really need to put up any census data that you've worked up during the course of this class, unless it's absolutely special and unique. Then go ahead. Okay, brief review, overview of what we're going to be doing. Go to the File menu, Share As, Service, Publish a Service, and then you'll see My Hosted Services. And in the main dialog box for that, you'll have to work from left to right and then top to bottom in that main panel. So we'll show you how to do that right about now. Okay, here is a map document that I developed for demonstration purposes. This is a aquifer pollution count. I took all of the point sources of pollution that we have worked with in this class: toxic release inventory, brownfields, Superfund points, as well as LUST, leaking underground storage tanks, and I merged them together into one point file, and then did a inside spatial join, summarized inside spatial join, to assess the potential impact of these point sources of pollution on the different aquifers. Just to even things out, I normalized by the area field in the aquifer feature class. I went ahead and symbolized it. I used a quantile classification where each of the categories contains, in this case, a fifth of the data. So I think that's a good classification to use here. I'm showing a graduated color natural breaks classification actually captures very few of the worst aquifers. Okay, so here we are. We're ready to go. And by the way, this is very similar to what I asked you to do on the extra credit for the last homework. So we're going to go to Share As, Service, Publish a Service, right here. Next, My Hosted Services is one of the other two options. If you're not at Seattle U, you'll see My Hosted Services someplace else, provided that you're a publisher, have publisher privileges in ArcGIS Online. I've done this a couple times, so this one is, I'm going to call Feature Service Demo 3. This part is just taken from the map document name, and I've got a couple of others. So continue. Then here's where the main work starts. I'll move things around a little bit so we can see what's going on here. Again, working top to bottom and then left to right. Let's start in the top left. Parameters, we don't need to change anything here. This is the only one that you might need to change. You might need to increase this, but don't unless you know the reason why you are. Keep it at 1,000. Capabilities, don't check tiled mapping. Feature access, that's what actually gives you access to the feature classes in ArcGIS.com. Feature access, what can you do with the features in ArcGIS.com? You want to be able to modify them in ArcGIS.com. So go ahead and check all these boxes. You can uncheck them later on from ArcGIS.com if you need to. This will allow you to make changes and sync up with a mobile device. For example, if you end up putting this map out on a mobile device as part of ArcGIS collector, you want to be able to sync and so forth. So item description is required, and it is you have to put something in the summary and tags boxes. Tag 1, tag 2 I called it. Please put something more descriptive than this. I'm just trying to expedite things here. Description, you should enter a more full description. These things are how people will find your data, your maps, once you've shared them online. Access and use constraints, and finally credits. I put my contact info here. And then sharing. For the moment, go ahead and just have it shared as my content and maybe current students if you choose. I will go ahead and do this because maybe some of you might want to work with this watershed layer. Later on, when you put this up on ArcGIS.com and put together your story map, you have the option of sharing with more people. So for now, keep it to yourself. Okay, we are not going to import anything further at this point. This is one of the potential showstopper steps. Hit Analyze, and it will go through and tell you what needs to happen. If I had included a base map, I would get a further red X here. These are the red X's are things that will prevent you from uploading your data to ArcGIS.com. So the one that is showing here that will stop me, and I must deal with it before moving forward, is selection layer not supported. So that's what this is right here. I selected the highest pollution aquifers statewide and created a selection layer from that. And if you right click on the error message here, you can tell it to remove it, and away it goes. And when you rerun Analyze, you will see that error message gets cleared. The other one is that will actually break things when you go to do the upload is the raster layer is not supported. We don't need rasters, so let's go ahead and just take that one off as well. That was a hillshade based on elevation imagery that I developed for this class. And so what's left is just the one layer, the aquifer hazards normalized by area, and hit Analyze again. Make sure those error messages have cleared. And these medium ones are just advisory. You can safely ignore them, and you'll still get your upload successfully. Next step is preview if you like, and if you got anything complicated, it might be worth doing that. You can tweak your settings, your layer settings, your symbology, and whatnot after a quick preview, but this is really simple, so we're going to stick with that. And then hit Publish. And I have already done this a few times, so I'm going to save us some time and skip over to Seattle U to my homepage, my test homepage for ArcGIS.com. Look at content, and the one that is working right now, it looks like it's finished, but just to be safe, I'll go ahead and hit a previous one. Got the same info in it, and it shows info about it. It shows the metadata. We're going to want to verify that it's done what we think it's done, and sure enough, there it is. There are our aquifers. It's kept the transparency. It's kept the looks like I've got two of them for some reason. It's kept the symbology. I don't need both of them, so I'll turn one off. And yeah, there we are. we have successfully uploaded to ArcGIS.com. Let's go back and review the steps. Have to log in to ArcGIS.com before any of this magic happens. From your ArcMap session, you create and save a map document. Keep it to a single data frame, follow these guidelines. You can always take them out at the last minute after the analyze step. Don't forget, you don't need every single layer that you've been working with, just your analysis layers or anything that's uniquely relevant to your project and you can't find anyplace else. And you're going file, share as, service, publish a service, my hosted services, and you'll work through that dialog left to right, top to bottom. And I think that will take care of